Hey everyone, how you doing? Welcome back. I'm Fuzz, and today I've got a list of 10 underrated sci-fi gems on physical media for you. And I'm using the word underrated as kind of a catch-all term. It can mean a couple of different things. It can certainly be a movie that I feel is a better movie than others have given it credit for, critics or whatnot. Or it can be like a forgotten gem, or it can be a movie that people do remember, but maybe it just feels like it doesn't get talked about as often these days in sci-fi movie discussions. So I'm just using the term kind of loosely here, but really what it comes down to is I was just looking for an excuse to be able to talk about some cool sci-fi movies that I haven't really had a chance to talk about a whole lot on the channel before, or if they have come up on the channel, it's been quite some time. Now, there is a slight difference with this particular list. Of course, usually I cover older catalog movies on physical media, but I do have a few films in my list today that would be considered more contemporary. And of course, my idea of contemporary is anything that came out within the last like 15 or 20 years. But my thinking was these are great sci-fi movies that I don't usually get to talk about on the channel. So I figured I'd make an exception this time and include a few more contemporary titles in this list. All right, so let's just get right into my list here and rock this. Okay, and I should note this list is not ranked in any particular order today. I do have these entries numbered just so I can keep track of where I'm at in the list, but this isn't like a countdown or anything. This isn't any kind of ranking. It's just a random smattering of sci-fi movie gems that I really dig. All right, so for the first title I wanted to chat about today, I've got a 2005 Michael Bay movie. It's actually one of my favorite Michael Bay movies, setting aside The Rock and Armageddon. I think this one, aside from those two, I think this one is probably my favorite. I'm talking about The Island, starring Ewan McGregor. Scarlett Johansson is also in this one, along with Sean Bean, and Steve Buscemi is in this too. It's actually got a really good cast, and it's a really fun sci-fi action movie. Now, my advice to people, if you've never seen this title, my advice is to go into it completely blind, completely cold. Don't even read the synopsis of the story, right? Like, just go into it knowing absolutely nothing about it. I think you'll have the best experience, like, just letting the story naturally play out. At least that's the way I watched it for the first time. So I always recommend to others when they're watching it for the first time, don't read anything about it. You're better off just going into it completely blind. Because even reading the back of this case, it gives away a detail about what's going on that I think you're better off just discovering on your own as the movie unfolds. But it's a really entertaining movie and a little bit different than some of the other stuff that Michael Bay has done. And also, this is a title that I would absolutely love to see get a 4K release. I think we need this one on 4K. I don't know if it's on anybody's radar at this point, but, this is a movie that I feel is a really good sci-fi film. It's one of those films that I don't feel like it gets talked about as often these days. So I don't know how many fans there are out there of this one, but it's one that I've always really enjoyed. And like I said, I think one of the better Michael Bay movies we've ever seen. So I'm really hoping that we get this one on 4K at some point, because I think it would just look fantastic on the 4K format. For my first entry, a great film, Michael Bay's The Island. All right, and next up for my second entry, we got a Bruce Willis film here. This is one of those, I guess, a little bit later films, and I think one of the better later career Bruce Willis films out there from 2012, Looper, which is a great film, really great film. It's got a time travel component, and it's got, Joseph Gordon-Levitt playing a younger version of Bruce Willis's character, and Emily Blunt's in this one as well. And, one thing I love about this movie is Joseph Gordon-Levitt's performance. He must have spent a lot of time really studying Bruce Willis and all his mannerisms, because Joseph Gordon-Levitt, he's got Bruce Willis down pat. I mean, he's got his mannerisms down perfectly. He really does. I couldn't believe it the first time I saw this movie. I was like, damn, he really does look like a younger version of Bruce Willis. I mean, just the way he acts and the way he moves and his facial expressions. He must have really spent a lot of time studying Bruce Willis and researching, Bruce Willis's mannerisms for this role. But it's a really fun film. I don't want to tell you guys too much about the story for those of you guys who haven't seen it, but just know that it involves time travel and it's just a badass sci-fi action thriller. Oh, and it looks great in 4K too. If you happen to be a fan of the film already, but you haven't picked up the 4K yet, yeah, it's a movie I would definitely recommend adding to your collection if you are a fan of this movie. So yeah, for my second entry today from 2012, Looper. All right, next up for my number 3 is a title that I don't yet own on Blu-ray, but I'm hoping to rectify that at some point. It's actually not maybe as easily available on Blu-ray as other movies out there, and this is one I'd actually like to see get a 4K release. I don't know how likely that is because it's a 20th Century Fox film, but I'm talking about the 1988 film Alien Nation. Great film, starring James Caan. You got Terrence Stamp in this one. And it's a really cool, like near future sci-fi, thriller. It's like a sci-fi crime drama, right? James Caan plays a cop, and they're living in this society. I haven't seen it for a couple of years. I think the last time I watched this was like on streaming, not long after James Caan passed away. But if I remember right, it basically humans and this alien species are like kind of coexisting together. This alien species, I guess, if I remember right, like had crashed on Earth and was kind of assimilating with our society, right? And so basically, one of these aliens is a cop, and James Caan is a obviously a human cop, and they get paired together to try and work on a case, trying to solve this drug ring. Some drug runners are out there or whatever. That's my memory of the movie. So it's like a crime action thriller, but it's sci-fi as well because of the whole alien component. And the film almost even kind of has a little bit of a neo-noir vibe to it as well. So it's a really cool film, and James Caan's performance in this film is just awesome. Now, this is a film that, like I said, I think the Blu-ray releases are fairly limited. I don't know if it ever got a Blu-ray release here in the U.S. It certainly doesn't have a 4K release. I did notice that it appears 101 Films in the UK did put out a Blu-ray of this at one point. And it looks like maybe Umbrella Entertainment out of Australia also put out a Blu-ray. I need to hunt one of those down and add it to my collection. I didn't really have time to do that before the video here. But also think of this as kind of like a 4K wish list item for me. Like if I could, I would prefer to add this movie to my collection on 4K. I don't know how realistic that even is. I seriously doubt that this movie is on anybody's radar for 4K release. I'm sure they've got much bigger fish to fry with releasing 20th Century Fox movies at this point. There's a lot of bigger titles they need to release before they get to this one, but I wouldn't mind owning it on 4K, but because I'm not convinced that's even going to happen, I'll probably have to just pick up a Blu-ray at some point. I did notice there were a number of different Blu-ray copies on eBay. We just don't seem to have a domestic release here that's easily accessible here in the US, so I'll probably have to import it. Anyway, if you've never seen the film, it's one I would highly recommend checking out. And, if you don't want to get the Blu-ray or hunt down a Blu-ray for this, it might even be available on streaming. That's where I watched it the last time I watched it. I guess a couple years ago or whenever that was that James Caan passed away. It was available on streaming then, so who knows? You might be able to find it somewhere on streaming, maybe on at the very least on Tubi or something. And I know I'm not a big advocate of streaming, but in certain instances, sometimes it's necessary. All right, so I guess that's about all I can really say about this one. From 1988, Alien Nation. All right, and next up for my number 4, I've got a little sci-fi horror action here from 1995, Species, and this is available on 4K. I believe Scream Factory put it out on 4K. I just haven't gotten around to upgrading this one to 4K. As it turned out, I bought this Blu-ray I think it was 2 weeks before Scream Factory announced that they were releasing this on 4K. So I wasn't feeling too inclined to turn around and upgrade it to 4K just, 2 or 3 months after I'd purchased the Blu-ray. I figured, eventually I'll get around to upgrading this on 4K, but it wasn't something I needed to do right then. But I might actually do it this spooky season. We'll see, because this would work for spooky season. I think this is got a good horror element to it. It's a really fun film. It's about this chick is basically an alien human hybrid, a killer alien, and she's trying to mate with someone, and her offspring is going to destroy humanity, basically, right? So this is it's about a team that's trying to stop this alien and trying to catch her, right, and make it so that she can't do that. Of course, the alien-human hybrid is played by Natasha Henstridge. What's cool about this film, though, is it's got a really good cast. I mean, you got Ben Kingsley in this, you got Michael Madsen in this, you got Forrest Whitaker in this. You just cannot go wrong with a cast like that. But it's a really entertaining sci-fi horror film. So if you've by any chance never seen this one, this is one I would definitely recommend. And I think of it as kind of underrated. I don't know. Some of you out there, maybe you don't think of this one as underrated, but I feel this is probably a little bit better than maybe people gave it credit for when it first came out. It's certainly one I enjoy returning to, and if you haven't seen it for a while, it might be one that you'd like to revisit as well. So for my number 4, Species. All right, and moving on to my number 5 here, we've got a Tom Cruise flick here, another one of those more contemporary films from 2013. This is a killer film, Oblivion. Now, this one also has a 4K release out there, but I've never purchased the 4K because I heard it wasn't a very good 4K. Other collectors told me it did not look very good, so I just kind of stuck with my Blu-ray here. But I don't know. Do any of you out there own this on 4K? And do you disagree with that assessment, or was I given accurate information about the 4K? That's the only reason I've never picked up the 4K. I heard it was one of those 4Ks that really wasn't actually worth the upgrade. So if any of you out there have some contradicting information on this, be sure to drop me a comment below because I'd love to hear it. But this movie is just a whole lot of fun. Tom Cruise, Morgan Freeman. I mean, just with that combo alone, you can't go wrong, right? And it's the kind of sci-fi movie that I feel like we don't get a lot of these very often. In the modern era, when something like this comes along, it's kind of a treat. But it just doesn't seem like we get a whole lot of really good sci-fi movies like this one in the modern age. And this is one I feel like I never hear anybody talk about this one. For the most part, I don't hear this one coming up in a lot of sci-fi discussions, but it's a really rewatchable film in my book. And it's directed by Joseph Kosinski of, Top Gun Maverick and F1 fame, and also the same guy. I just found this out last night. I didn't even realize that he also directed Tron Legacy. I was watching Tron Legacy last night, and I didn't even realize that Kosinski had directed that one. So, and of course, it looks great, but I'll be doing a review on that later, so that'll be coming soon. But yeah, Joseph Kosinski, this guy really knows how to make a good-looking movie. And this has a nice big, the world building in this is killer. Amazing world building in this film. And what the film starts out as is, there's an interesting twist, right? As the film evolves, it turns out to be something a little bit different than what it starts out as in terms of our perception of events and what's actually going on. So yeah, if you've never seen Oblivion, this is one I would definitely recommend, especially if you're a fan of Tom Cruise and some of the other films that Joseph Kosinski has done. This is a really entertaining ride. So yeah, for my number 5, Oblivion. By the way, if you're enjoying the content on this channel, do me a favor and please consider subscribing to the channel. And if you do, don't forget to activate that notification bell as well so you can be alerted whenever I'm posting movies that you might dig. Also, don't forget to like the video and maybe even drop a comment as well. The YouTube algorithm really likes it when you do things like that and rewards the channel with greater visibility. Thanks so much for your support. I really appreciate it. Okay, and next up for my number six, this is a title I think I have mentioned on the channel before. From 1997, this one has got a high rewatch value for me. I'm talking about Starship Troopers, directed by the great Paul Verhoeven. Yeah, this one is just a total blast. And the reason it's on this list is because, when this movie first came out back in the late 90s, I remember thinking at the time it was just okay. Right? I wasn't really that blown away by it at the time, but something weird kind of happened. I found myself rewatching this movie repeatedly because it was always playing on cable TV and I was always landing on it and watching, parts of it or all of it or whatnot. So over the years, I just came to love this movie, even though when it first came out, I didn't really think a whole lot about it. It kind of, I came to appreciate it more and more over time. And especially with the way Paul Verhoeven, what he does with his films, right? He's really good at subtext and social commentary, but sometimes he does it in a way where it's kind of over the top and kind of in your face, almost like a satirical kind of thing, right? And he definitely does that here with this movie. He's making his point, but he's definitely doing it in a satirical or kind of satirical, in-your-face fashion. And I just love that about Paul Verhoeven. He did the same thing with RoboCop too. So yeah, this is one that I've always enjoyed, and I've always enjoyed returning to it. It's got a pretty high rewatch value for me, and the 4K looks great too from Sony. So yeah, if you're a fan of this one, I would definitely recommend adding this to your collection if you don't already have it. For my number six, Starship Troopers. All right, and moving right along to my number seven here, we've got a film from 2018, another one of those more contemporary films here. I just rewatched this one the other night, and it just kind of reaffirmed in my mind just how damn good this movie actually is. I'm talking about Upgrade, directed by Lee Winnell and starring Logan Marshall Green. This is just an absolutely killer film. It is so much fun and it is so well done. I think it's fair to characterize it as like a sci-fi horror flick. In fact, this is a Scream Factory release, so there are definitely some horror elements in this film, particularly with some of the kills. There is some gore there, and the ending leaves no doubt that it's absolutely got a strong horror element. Though in many ways, I'd almost consider this a bit of a mashup, right? Because it's science fiction, it's horror, it's action, kind of all rolled into one, right? It's a really cool film that takes place in the near future. It's not like way far off in the future, but there is enough. It's far enough in the future to where you get all kinds of cool technology in the film, and then of course you get some cool action as well. It also kind of blends in the revenge element, right? The revenge flick that's included as part of this story as well. But like I said, I was watching it the other night. I hadn't seen it since I first bought it, and I was in the mood to check it out again. And damn, so much fun. I just had a great time with it. So if you've never seen Upgrade and you're a fan of, sci-fi action thrillers, then this is one I would definitely recommend. So for my number seven, Upgrade. All right, next up from 1997, we've got another sci-fi horror film here that I just love and that I do think is a little bit underrated. I'm talking about Cube, which was, I believe, like an independent production, right? I think it's like a Canadian release or something. I don't even know who owns the rights for this movie. It is a movie I would like to see get a 4K release. I don't currently own it on Blu-ray. It does appear to have received at least a couple different Blu-ray releases over the years, but I've just never gotten around to adding it to my collection. I think the last time I saw it was last year. I watched it on streaming for spooky season, and it's a great spooky season movie to watch as well. In fact, if you don't own it, you might still be able to find it on streaming. Maybe, Shudder or something like that will have it. But it's got some great kills in it. That's one of the things I was struck by the very first time I watched this movie. I mean, when you first watch it, like never having seen it, it's cool because you don't know what's going on. You don't know what this structure is and why these people are there and what the deal is. And it's really cool because the mystery just kind of gently unfolds throughout the movie, and of course with with plenty of kills along the way to catch everyone's attention. But I don't want to say too much about this one. If it's one you've never seen, you should hunt it down and check it out. I do hope that we get a 4K release for it someday. I would love to see this one get a 4K release. It appears it was shot on 35 millimeter film. I just don't know who owns the rights and how realistic that is that we would even get a 4K release. But I'd love to see how this film looks on 4K, and I would absolutely buy it if given the opportunity. So think of this as a 4K wish list item as well. But if you've never seen this one and you're a fan of sci-fi horror, then yeah, it's one I would definitely check out. So for my number 8, Cube. And for my number 9, we've got a 2011 sci-fi film here that I always thought was kind of unique for what it was. And I'm talking about the movie In Time, starring Justin Timberlake, Amanda Seyfried. I don't really care about those two as actors that much, but they were pretty good in this. But this also has Cillian Murphy is in this as well, and he does a great job as well. But what makes this movie so cool is that they use time as a currency in this futuristic society. They don't have like money. Right? They don't have paper money or anything like that, no coins or anything like that. They pay for everything and get paid in time, right? Everybody's got like a little meter built into their wrist or whatever, right? And anytime you want to pay for something, you just hold your wrist up and it deducts time from your life. Like the end of your life. That's what you're actually paying for everything with. The currency in this futuristic world is time off of your life. And it's a really trippy concept. And I'd never really seen any other sci-fi movie do something like that before. Now, that's not to say it hasn't happened. There could be a movie that did it, and I'm just not aware of that movie. But it was the first time that personally I've ever seen the concept of time being used as a currency in a futuristic society. And in fact, I would say that's actually what makes this film so cool. It is kind of the central premise, the central theme upon which the whole story is built. And it's just a badass film. I really like it. And this is also one I would love to see get a 4K release. I would buy this on day one. That's how good I think this movie is. I would buy it on 4K on day one. Yeah, I guess think of this as also a 4K wish list item for me. But yeah, if you've never seen In Time, you should definitely check it out. It's a really fun, entertaining film that you just can't go wrong with. And I think it actually has quite a bit of rewatch value as well. So yeah, for my number 9, In Time. All right, and for my number 10, I've got another Bruce Willis movie here, another later career Bruce Willis movie, one of the other later career movies that he did that I thought was actually quite good. From 2009, I'm talking about Surrogates. Very cool film. It's about a futuristic society where humans use these robots called surrogates to kind of take their place and to interact with the world. Basically, everybody stays at home and just has their robots go out and interact with everybody and do all their job, their errands, whatever they're going to do. So it's a kind of a trippy movie, and it's also it's like a murder mystery as well. So it's like a sci-fi crime drama thriller, really cool flick. You got Bruce Willis in this one. You got Rhoda Mitchell. You got Rosamund Pike is in this one. James Cromwell. So it's got a fairly solid cast. But generally speaking, I just think this is a really interesting story for a sci-fi film. And it's another one I'd like to see get a 4K upgrade at some point, although this was a Touchstone Pictures release, so I don't know how likely that is. That falls under the Disney camp or Disney Sony, and who knows if this is even on their radar. Once again, I think they probably have much higher profile titles that they're focused on releasing right now before they would get to something like this. But if it ever came to 4K, I'd definitely buy it and upgrade to 4K. So yeah, if you've never seen Surrogates, check it out. It's a really cool film. For my number 10. All right, so that covers my my initial list of 10. I do have just a couple honorable mentions here I wanted to go over real quick because I always like to give you a little bit extra if I can. From 1981, there's a movie called Looker that I have always really enjoyed. I think it's a better movie than people probably gave it credit for. But admittedly, that's part of that is probably my own personal nostalgia for this movie. This is a movie I used to watch all the time on cable TV because it was playing on cable TV all the time, after it first came out back in the 80s, right? And I seem to remember landing on this title all the time and watching some or part of this movie or rewatching some or part of this movie multiple times. And in fact, I picked this up, I think it was a couple years ago now, and I hadn't seen it since then, right? It had been, 30, 40 years since I had seen this movie. And I remembered everything about it. It was like I didn't even miss a beat. It was like no time had passed at all. It was a trip. But it's kind of a cheesy movie, to be fair. It is a cheesy movie, but it does have some nostalgic value for me. So I wanted to include it on this list. But it is fun. You got James Coburn in this. You got Albert Finney. You got Susan Day. So it's a pretty solid cast. And one thing I will say about the futuristic aspects of this movie, it's kind of like a crime drama, sci-fi crime drama thriller. Right. I think that's a fair representation of this film. But the sci-fi technology that they're using, the funny thing about it, because it takes place in a not too distant future, and the sci-fi technology that they're using, we pretty much already have. I mean, they're just talking about like digital models and like AI, right? That's all they're talking about. And the stuff that they're using in this movie, it seems kind of quaint now. So you got to keep that in mind. But it's still a fun movie, and I just have a blast with it every time I watch it. But it may not be for everyone. This one is definitely more of a personal choice, and that's why I decided to just put it in the honorable mentions rather than the official list of 10. But if you've never seen Looker, I think it's a fun film. You might get a kick out of it, so maybe check it out. And then another honorable mention that I didn't quite have room for on this list, another nostalgia pick for me from 1984, The Last Starfighter. This is one I saw in the theater with my dad when I was young, and so it always kind of stuck with me. I think it's a really cool movie. This was directed by Nick Castle, and it was one of the early films to use CGI back then, heavily used CGI. Now, admittedly, some of the CGI does look a little cartoonish these days because it is early CGI, but it still looks fantastic on 4K. This is an Arrow Video release on 4K, and they did a really good job with the transfer on this one. So it's a fun film, and it's a good family film too. Right, it's good for younger kids as well. So it's not as maybe hardcore as maybe some of the other films on this list for younger age groups. But this is one that brings back a lot of memories for me, and I do enjoy returning to it just for the nostalgia factor, pulling on those nostalgia strings here. Last Fighter, you can't go wrong with something like that, especially on 4K from Arrow Video. And then my last honorable mention is a title that I have been chomping at the bit to see again. I haven't seen this movie in quite a few years. There doesn't appear to have ever been a Blu-ray release of it, and certainly not a 4K. This is an older movie from 1990. It's called Prayer of the Roller Boys, starring Corey Haim and Patricia Arquette. It's a movie I used to watch on cable TV back in the early 90s. I do remember it playing, and I remember watching it at least a few times, and I haven't seen it since. Well, I was doing a little research for this list. I guess this would kind of fall under the category of forgotten gem, right? I don't know how many people even remember this movie, but it appears the last stop for physical media with this movie was DVD. And I guess there are still DVDs out there you can get, but it doesn't appear that there are any like official Blu-ray releases out there. And the thing is, I don't even know who holds the rights for this movie. I was trying to look into it, and I guess it's some small company called Academy Entertainment, but they don't seem to be affiliated with any kind of like major studio. So it's not clear to me if we wanted an updated release of this movie on physical media. It's not clear to me where we would get that from or how realistic that even is. I mean, I don't even need this one to get a 4K release. I'd be happy with just a Blu-ray release. But I don't know. You know, maybe the folks at like Vinegar Syndrome, they kind of specialize in finding these kind of long lost films that haven't seen the light of day for a while. So maybe they could get to work on something like this. But if we ever did get like an updated physical media release, I would definitely buy this one. I don't know. It might be available to watch on streaming. But it's a movie that I really enjoyed back in the day. And it's kind of a dystopian, like sci-fi action crime drama thriller. It's another kind of a mashup, right? It happens, if I remember correctly, it's been many years since I've seen it, but it happens in the not too distant future. And I seem to remember like the whole world is kind of like run by gangs or something. So I do remember a very distinct dystopian vibe to it. So it's one I'd like to return to because I don't frankly remember it that well. I just remember it enough to know that I liked it at the time. And it's one I'd definitely like to revisit. And of course, I don't buy DVDs, so I'm not likely to hunt down a DVD for this. It's just I'd rather just go without. But I don't know, I could probably stream it on YouTube or something like that too. But ideally, I would love to see this movie get an updated physical media release, either on Blu-ray or on 4K, if that's even possible. So yeah, for my final honorable mention, Prayer of the Roller Boys. Okay, so that about wraps it up for my list of 10 underrated sci-fi movie gems on physical media. Let me know what you think of my list in the comments below. What do you think of my choices here? And what are some of your favorite underrated sci-fi gems? I always love chatting with you guys and interacting with you guys in the comments, so make sure you leave me some feedback down below. Also, don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Thank you so much for watching today, guys. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you soon.